One of the things which I would say converts this budding friendship into a kind of intimacy is that they both know and admit that they have made unfortunate marriages. Hayley's wife has characteristics which prove increasingly unbearable to Hayley, and in Romney's case he has been forced into a shotgun marriage with a woman 10 years his senior up in Cumberland, and I don't think he ever intended to get married before going to London to seek his fame, and he believed he had to go to London without her. While he regretted that, he also felt intensely guilty. In works such as the Psyche cartoons, he kind of identifies with women who are undergoing tribulation and in some form or other. It's interesting that all these cartoons in various ways are about the tribulations of Psyche. There were meant to be 8 cartoons. Only 7 survive in not very good condition in the Walker Art Gallery in Liverpool. The cartoons got left out in the open air at one point. All of them got damaged apart from one, which is the first one, which is Psyche borne by the zephyrs to the environs of Cupid's palace. That's a pair with the second cartoon, which is Psyche outside Cupid's palace, lying down and being spied on by Cupid, and he's Cupid's first sight of Psyche. And the two are slightly mirror images of each other. As one goes through the sequence of cartoons, Psyche supplicating Juno and Psyche and Venus, that's the third and fourth. They're another pair. Once one has in one's head the notion that Romney conceived these cartoons as pairs, it's obvious which go with which. The missing cartoon almost certainly represented the scene where Psyche is rowed across the River Styx by Charon, and she's seen in Charon's boat crossing the Styx, and there's a very characteristic neoclassical drawing of that subject in ink in the Fitzwilliam, and I'm fairly sure that the existence of that drawing prompted the idea for the whole project. It's as if Hayley going to Romney's studio for the first time and looking around and seeing things lying around on plan chests and tables, says, "Oh, and what's this? This looks interesting." And he sees probably also the unfinished painting of Cupid and Psyche at their wedding feast, which I'm sure Romney had made a start on by the time he first met Hayley. And Hayley said, "Are you working on Cupid and Psyche?" And Romney would have said, "Well, yes, I've had this idea of doing this painting of the marriage feast of Cupid and Psyche, and I did a drawing too of Psyche crossing the Styx in Charon's boat." And Hayley saying, "Well, let's have a look at that," and the whole thing unwinding from there. The drawing of Psyche in Charon's boat, which is, I think, actually done in Rome, and I think that for 2 reasons. Firstly, because there's a list of subjects in one of his Roman sketchbooks, which says Psyche crossing the Styx, Sticks, in Romney's great spelling. It's a very Fuselian drawing, and it was in Rome that Romney first encounters Fuseli, and is very, very influenced by Fuseli's monochrome ink and wash, large-scale drawings, which inform the style of the cartoons very, very much. Hayley says that these cartoons were the first that Romney undertook, but it's pretty clear that Romney had already made 1 or 2 of these large monochrome neoclassical drawings under the influence of Fuseli in Rome. They had a very interesting construction and use of medium. They were pieces of paper glued together. I'm not sure whether by Romney himself they were stretched onto wooden stretchers. They are in black chalk, not wash and not ink, and there's some heightening in white chalk. The missing cartoon of the set of 8, Psyche in Charon's boat, went with the last cartoon of all, which is where Cupid rescues Psyche from the underworld. One gets a very delightful insight into Hayley's way with Romney in his description of their kind of joint working, Hayley doing this text and Romney doing a set of 8 illustrations which were going to be prints which intersperse the action. Hayley says Romney dashed off 8 elegant cartoons like it took him no time at all. Hayley had no compunction about laying the whole project to one side. No care in the world about the labour it's already cost Romney to invent these 8 cartoons. He says, I gave up this project in favour of writing the epistle to Romney, which I thought would be a much more kind of desirable project to do, to do on his behalf. I'm sure that Romney himself probably thought, well, you bastard, just got me doing 8 cartoons in the evening after, a heavy day's work painting portraits, and here you go, just forget about the whole thing. Until the epistle was published and did actually make a few waves in Romney's favour, and there was no way that Romney could know that Hayley wasn't going to abandon the epistle.